Good afternoon and welcome to today's pre-game media availability with Boston Bruins head coach Bruce Cassidy. Please use the raise hand function to ask a question. As a reminder, please keep it to one question at a time. Remember to unmute when called upon. We'll start with Tara Sullivan.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, Bruce. I loved reading some of your comments from yesterday, kind of the family stuff and what both sides are going through as you cope with everything. Now that this is, the games are in, how do you find your family is doing? Are they enjoying? Do you think they're going to set up something to watch the games? Like just a little bit of maybe from their side as much as from your side and what families are going through.
Yeah, I think most families are supportive. The Bruins did a great thing yesterday. We got a video from everybody's, most everybody's family wishing us well. So it was kind of nice to see some familiar faces, even though you're seeing your own kids on FaceTime. I think the whole Bruins team, seeing all the, the kids around, Z's, Marshy's, everybody go down the list too, because Bergie says it's kind of nice again because you usually see them around the rink this time of the year a little more and everyone's in it together. So that was nice, a nice little sort of send-off, I guess, into the playoffs. I think guys are pretty focused right now, Tara, on the job at hand. That's game one versus Carolina. I think we've all been looking forward to this, first playoff game. And I think our guys are excited and can balance the family being away with hockey. And I think that's a big challenge for everybody in this tournament. And I think our guys are up for it.
Go to Stephen Conroy.
Hi, Bruce. It looked like from the pairs you had yesterday that you might be going with Lazon tonight. Is that the case? And if so, what was the deciding factors there?
Yeah, just the way we finished the year. We're not burying that part of the season. Cliffy played and Johnny Moore one game. So probably made that decision coming out of training camp with how I allotted the ice time. And at the end of the day, if we need to make a switch, we will. We just felt that gave us the best balance in our lineup of size and puck moving ability with Losey in there. I do believe the bigger guys need a few more reps. He's now been on the ice a little while, and I thought was a little better against Washington, kind of settled into his game. And so that's the decision behind it. I do have a lot of faith in Johnny and Cliffy if Losey's not up to the task or any one of the other D. But that's what we're going with tonight. And, we feel that that's going to give us a real good chance to win.
We'll go to Dan Roche.
Hey, Bruce. Hope you're doing well. Just a thought on your team and the message to your team today as you start this process. And I don't know if you've seen, but surprisingly, a lot of people picking the Hurricanes to win this series. Just your thoughts on maybe being a bit of an underdog coming in with the team that you have here.
Yeah, I don't concern myself with predictions, Dan. We'll be ready to play. We came into this with a mindset that we were going to build towards game one. And our intention is to be in it for the long haul. So that's a bit of the reasoning behind it. But we do have to improve areas of our game if we expect to beat Carolina. Our guys do have a recent history against them in terms of this year. The game we played, we won last year in the playoffs, but a lot of that's changed. This almost feels like a brand new season for obvious reasons. So we got to prove it on the ice tonight. And we feel there's certain areas that we can play well against them. There's areas that we got to make sure we're on the ball with in terms of their pace of their game and their foot speed and us getting back on pucks and supporting pucks so that we can play with the puck. And once we have it, we feel that there's areas we can do some damage. But until we get going here, who knows? But that's the game plan, and I think our guys are up for it.
Go to Matt Porter.
Hi, Bruce. Assuming that Bjork goes in, are there no other lineup changes? I wanted to ask you about Bjork. What can he do to kind of reach the ceiling that you believe he has? And also, do you have to say anything to him, given that he's not necessarily alone here, but it is his first, real quote unquote playoff game?
Well, I mean, for Anders, he's just got to play to his strength, which is use his foot speed to disrupt some breakouts. He's learned the game better away from the puck, and he's going to need to against Slavin, who gets involved a lot. Shea can skate on the left as lefty. He's the right winger tonight, as with Richie and on the left and Coyle in the middle. So, that's an area he's going to have to be on his toes. Attack the net. I think he's done a better job with that. We saw it against Tampa. Took some hits to do it. That's part of the game. We'd like to see him be able to protect himself when he gets in there and still make plays, and which is, a little bit of experience, just, understanding that your time and space, and shoot the puck, shoot to score. When it's his turn to shoot. Someone on that line has to score eventually if you're going to get secondary scoring. So, and then read off Charlie. Charlie is a horse down low with the puck. Carolina is a lot of man-to-man and D-zone, so this could really be an opportunity for Charlie, like last year, to shine against this team because he's good in those situations. So read off him. Know when he needs help and know when to clear out for him and just find some open ice and be available so that if he beats this guy, you're open for a quick play.
We'll go to Jimmy Murphy.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good, Jimmy.
Obviously the different circumstance you're under right now. I just wondered, what you usually feel heading into the first game of the playoffs, if it's the same every year, and how much different that is this year, or is that same feeling still there?
Well, it's excitement. There's a bit of butterflies always. There's a little bit of apprehension sometimes as a coach. Have you covered everything? Have you given them too much information if you have covered everything, or do you sort of give them the basics and add a wrinkle here or there and then let the series play out and make the adjustments. So I think every coach kind of goes through those until your team plays. Carolina's been through it. They've been in a play-in round. So they've kind of probably checked that box already, their coaching staff. Ours was a different scenario. So at the end of the day, that's what I go through. Does it feel the same? I think it will when the puck drops, Jimmy. It's just different. I got to tell you, the difference would be the energy of the crowd. You can't replicate that with no fans in there. It's just different. Playoff hockey, the crowd's a little louder, and the media buzz. Not going to lie, people are around. You're running into people from different cities, and you're talking hockey, and you don't have that around here. So I always find that's part of the playoffs that won't be available to us or to the players. Some people might like that. I just find that was kind of the two things that the lack of energy from those two areas that you've got to create yourself. But like I said, once the puck drops, I think it'll be the same, but it's just kind of the lead up to it and some of the other stuff around it.
We'll go to Stephen Wino.
Hey, Bruce, you obviously split your goalies pretty well during the regular season the last couple of years. You couldn't have envisioned playoffs with back-to-backs in a playoff series, but how nice is it, given the schedule, that you have two guys you can turn to and not stress one of them maybe on both halves of a back-to-back?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think we had a goalie by design over the last, since Yarrow's been here, maybe even Dobie, play a back-to-back, unless, I know Yarrow had to do it one year. Tuukka got hurt. I think it was last year against Vegas and someone else early, but in general, no, we don't do it. So we'll see how it plays out. That's game 5 and 6. That's a long way away. One of the advantages we felt we had, if there hadn't have been a pause going into the playoffs, is that both our goalies would have been fresh by design. So we lose a bit of that advantage to some teams that use one guy, but it is what it is. Tuukka's starting. He's looked good the last couple times in the net. So, it's his ball to run with for now, and we'll kind of cross that bridge when we come to it with the back-to-back.
We'll go to Connor Ryan.
Hey, Bruce. In terms of Carolina's aggressive penalty kill, what kind of adjustments do guys that typically operate up high, like Krug and Marchand, sometimes have to make to counter against a PK that likes to pressure quite a bit in Carolina?
Bergie will be important where he's the bumper. He might have to play a little closer to those defensemen for outlet passes and the high pressure. I find their deflex out a lot, so and they'll cut off back of the net plays. So we got to make sure that, I think last year we made an adjustment that I don't think we did, where we started when we were under pressure, maybe throwing it to the front of the net a little more to keep them honest. Got a couple goals off it, so then they'll make their adjustments. So at the end of the day, puck recovery, all 5 guys, or all 4 guys away from the one guy battling for it have to be an option, and you got to think one pass ahead, because that's how you end up beating it. If you're one pass ahead and you have an extra man, then pretty good chance you're going to get a good look. And then when you get that good look, you got to put it to the net. I think what happens a lot of times is when teams break pressure, Ryan, they then don't attack. And I like our mentality is when we break pressure, we tend to want to attack, get them in a vulnerable spot so they don't allow them to reset and pressure you again. But again, that's the player's decision on the ice, and hopefully they'll follow through on it and win those second effort pucks.
Go to Mike Loftus.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Mike.
When you look at the Hurricanes, their defense core, they've had a pretty radical kind of makeover since a year ago, and even made some moves at the deadline. Does it significantly change anything about how that defense core plays, or how you would what you think you need to do against them?
Well, system-wise, they won't change, Mike, or I haven't seen them change yet. So it's still about catching them in between, play behind them, make a skate onto pucks, supporting pucks. So our forwards can't play that far apart like we might do against a team that sags, like a Columbus. So that's one thing I don't think's changed. All good skaters, so nothing's changed there. If Hamilton goes in, Vatanen kind of played his role a little bit. He's not as big as Dougie, but they have similar mindsets in terms of getting up the ice, attacking, good shooters. And then I don't know if Vatanen goes out or Fleury, that'll be their decision to make, or whoever. So we haven't overanalyzed that part of it. I think they're like I said, their team structure is still the same. Their D still involved a lot. They get it low to high a lot and pound and shoot for sticks in the high slot a lot. That hasn't changed. So no, right now, we're not adjusting a lot of what we do, except for maybe if one individual has a certain tendency over a guy that's left.
Go to Kevin Dupont.
Hi, Bruce. Thanks for doing this.
Okay.
This borrows from Murph's question and Tara too, but in this environment, what you're not going to have is when you're in Boston and you're in the playoffs and you pull over to fill up the car, the guy at the next pump is going to say, hey, good game, bad game, or what are you doing with that third line?
Yeah, I probably hear that more often, the second line, Kevin, than how you doing.
But that said, you'll never get home for this series in that context of being in the environment and the community. Do you miss that, or does that mean nothing?
I think it does. I think every player would tell you, especially after maybe a tough night. I mean, you get a hug from your kids or your wife, or all three or four or five, whatever the case may be. Your dog comes up, doesn't know the difference whether you win or lost. So some of that can make you a little bit, take away a bit of the, maybe the sadness or the anxiety you're feeling. And you just sort of say, hey, you know what? I'm going to let it go for a while, and you recharge the battery. So I think every player and every team, or that has that situation, coach, manager, whatever, you miss that. So you've got to do that yourself or through the FaceTime or what have you. So, but that's the same for everybody. That's why I thought early on the mentally tough teams are going to have an advantage as it goes along that can park some of that stuff. Clearly the teams with legs early on, you've seen, some of the more mature teams maybe not do as well as people have thought, but the young teams have. But I think that'll balance itself out as we go here.
Thanks very much, Coach, for your time today. That will conclude our Bruins media availability. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.